GLP-1s, let's just plug that in right here. What's the evidence right now in your mind as a pro-longevity medication?
Pretty good, actually. Certainly if you're overweight, getting your weight down
for
is
sure.
nothing. But in addition, someone like you and me, would it have longevity benefits? I mean, I think if it's used judiciously, I wouldn't use it chronically because there are some side effects, including muscle loss, but also some kidney and pancreas issues. Potentially, even blindness is a risk. The disease that, or the incident that we're going to treat next year with the age reversal is called NION. So that's non-ischemic ischemic optic neuropathy, NION.
Right.
So that the rates of that have doubled and tripled around the world because of these drugs. So it's not without risk. So you got to be careful using these peptides. But I think as a way to turn the body into a more adversity mode, they're excellent. I have tried them, not to lose weight, but just to see how my blood work turned out. And I saw some improvement. So I think with your doctor's advice and permission and
there are many of these drugs at this point, right?
Yeah, and they're getting easier to use. So there's an oral version now.
Yeah.
I can see in the future that they'll be part of longevity programs. But again, I'm not endorsing them. I'm not saying you should definitely go do it.
And I think one of the things that's important to note, and I just, again, want to reinforce, if you're using a GLP-1 to lose weight, the challenge is you lose the weight, you also lose muscle, and then when you stop the GLP-1, you just put on fat. Again, you don't put the muscle back on.
But there's an easy solution, right?
Work out.
Yeah, you
keep working out.
There's some effort involved. Yeah. But just, some sit-ups, push-ups, and whatever, lift some weights.
And use the GLP-1 drug as a way to get into new habits, right? Yeah. Getting new habits of not eating as much or going to what meal do you miss if you're going to miss a meal?
Breakfast.
Yeah.
And I have a late lunch. And but the thing with GLP-1s is even if you were to just fast and stop eating as much, you are going to lose muscle mass. It's not just that the drugs are causing muscle loss. It's what happens when you don't eat as much.
Yeah.
And so really you do have to keep the muscle mass up. And I wouldn't use testosterone alone to combat that muscle loss. It really is better to be working out to stop that. And clearly, you're a good example of that.
NMN, what source do you use? What sources are out there? Because I remember when Tony Robbins and I were writing our book, Life Force, when we looked at this, a lot of the NMN sources were not reputable out there. And then, of course, a lot of companies have stopped putting NMN out for sale because of what's going on with Metro Biotech and the idea of having NMN become a medicine versus a supplement. So give us some knowledge there.
Well, the first is about NMN as a supplement on, can you trust it? And, I'm not in the business of testing products. That's not what I do. But I do test NMN sources when I give it to mice. And we have a study that we're just revising showing NMN extends lifespan, mostly in female mice, but it did improve frailty and a lot of health-related things. So we do test NMN, and we've tested a bunch of them. And we find that there are things in there that you wouldn't want in there, like endotoxin, which is highly inflammatory parts of bacteria. And so if you're going to...
Have you published that data?
No, I won't. It's only...
it's inflammatory.
We might publish it, actually.
I mean, it's super useful for
maybe
folks
you're
to
right.
have.
We should do that.
I mean, somebody should be... Listen, you've made NMN a household name. I guarantee the number of people, well, whether you like it or not, because you talked about the value of this. You didn't do it to try and sell NMN. You did this because you're talking about its impact on increasing NAD levels intracellularly.
And I haven't made any money off it. In fact, I've invested a lot of money into clinical trials. No, I mean, there's been like $30 million worth of my money and others to do clinical trials to test a version of NMN in humans. So it's cost me a lot to try and validate NMN as a molecule.
I mean, one of the advantages, if Metro Biotech has a particular crystallized NMN that they're testing in a wide range of medical conditions, right?
That's right. And I don't see why they can't exist in the same universe, that supplements which are not under FDA approval usually, they're not prescribed by doctors, but there's an ultra pure pharmaceutical grade crystalline stable form that has been shown to work that can be prescribed. That's been shown even for fish oil. GSK actually, our friends at GSK made a fish oil. I think it's still available on the market.
It's a pharmaceutical. It's a drug.
Yeah. And
because
so
of its
it
purity.
works. Yeah.
And so, but the reason I would use the Metrobiotech NMN if and when it becomes approved as a drug is because I'm assured of quality and purity.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then to get to the FDA thing, I see on social media people accusing me of being the one to take it off the market. That's absolutely not true. I think everybody should have access to it. Otherwise, why would I talk about it? Yeah. I do think, though, that there should be some better regulation on how pure this stuff is, because there was a study that showed that I think it was roughly half of them didn't have what was on the label, which is a problem.
And it degrades over time.
Yeah, exactly.
In the non-crystalline form.
Exactly. But what actually happened? I'll explain what actually happened.
Please.
So Metrobiotech, it's not my company. I've invested in it, and there's, a chairman and a board. And so they made the decision that they would support the FDA in looking at NMN as a supplement. And there's a law that says if you're using a molecule in clinical trials, it shouldn't be sold as a supplement to protect the $30 million investment that the people are putting in. I believe I'm on record. I'll say here that I was not in favor of that. I didn't want Metrobiotech to get involved with the FDA. That was not my decision. But I don't run that company. There are very few companies that I actually have 100% control over. But I am learning that it's better to have control of a company that you're the figurehead of.
Yeah.
But in this case, I couldn't stop that. But I think where we're at now is that there's some gray zone about whether you can sell it now.
I'm seeing NMN for sale.
Yeah.
Let me clarify something. So ultimately, what you're trying to do is raise your intracellular NAD plus levels, your NAD levels. That's the end goal.
And the sirtuins need that NAD to work.
It's the powerhouse.
Yeah.
So NMN can cross the cell membrane and inside the cell gets converted to NAD, correct?
Yeah. Academics will argue over everything. I don't think it's still 100% agreed upon as to how NAD is made from NMN. There's some work by Shinomai at Washington University that there's a transporter even high up in the gut that absorbs it into cells and through the gut membrane. But there are people who say, NMN has to be broken down first before it gets into NAD.
And then there's NR, nicotinamide riboside, which is
what's used to make NMN in the cell.
Right. And so you have this sequence. So some people are arguing that you should take NR. Some people are arguing to take NMN. Other folks are doing, NAD IVs. And am I wrong in believing that an NAD IV is not getting into your cell?
I think that NAD drips will raise the intracellular NAD, probably because it gets broken down and then reabsorbed.
Then gets reabsorbed.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing with NAD drips, even though they're very popular, is that we still rely on anecdotal evidence that they do something, and I would love to see some more studies on that. But what I can say about oral NMN, we have spent money studying that, and when I say we, the scientists that conducted the study, and I was one of the middle authors on that, have shown that NMN in small groups of people improves blood pressure and cholesterol and lipids, and even seems like it works on strength and endurance. So, in terms of living up to what we saw in mice, it is looking promising. And there are at least 5 clinical trials at Metrobiotech now looking at whether it's efficacious in a disease state.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, kidney function, it's all on the website. And so with 5 and hopefully 6 shots on goal, the idea is that one of those will work. The other thing that's interesting is there's a new molecule that they
saw that. So MIB 626 was the old molecule.
Yeah, 626 is my birthday, by the way.
That's where it came from. Interesting.
Yeah, and then 725.
So almost happy birthday.
Thank you. So 725 is the new molecule, MIB 725. And that's the birthday of Anthony Sarvey, my great colleague who passed away during COVID. And he was at Cornell. We miss him dearly. And so that, hopefully if that makes it onto the market, it'll be his legacy.
Nice. A quick aside, you probably heard me speaking about Fountain Life before. And you're probably wishing, Peter, would you please stop talking about fountain life? And the answer is no, I won't. Because genuinely, we're living through a healthcare crisis. You may not know this, but 70% of heart attacks have no precedent, no pain, no shortness of breath. And half of those people with a heart attack never wake up. You don't feel cancer until stage 3 or stage 4, until it's too late. But we have all the technology required to detect and prevent these diseases early at scale. That's why a group of us, including Tony Robbins, Bill Kapp, and Bob Hariri, founded Fountain Life, a one-stop center to help people understand what's going on inside their bodies before it's too late, and to gain access to the therapeutics to give them decades of extra health span. Learn more about what's going on inside your body from Fountain Life. Go to fountainlife.com/Peter and tell them Peter sent you. Okay, back to the episode. All right, let's run down a few of these. So, fisetin, lipoic acid, EPA, DHA, L-taurine. Comments on those?
Yeah, I mean, fisetin is a molecule we actually first discovered to be a longevity molecule before it was known as a senolytic.
Yes. Fisetin and quercetin together.
Although the people that now talk about fisetin just ignore our research, but that's how.
Is that the Australian pronunciation of it? Fisetin versus fisetin?
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter what you say. Fisetin. But we showed fisetin is a sirtuin activator, just like resveratrol. Oh. And so I think it might be doing both things, is to either calm down or kill senescent cells at high doses, and at low doses it activates the sirtuin enzyme, which is what we want. Because I think of NAD as the gas or the petrol for the enzyme, and then the accelerator pedal are these polyphenols like fisetin and resveratrol, and together they have a double whammy of benefit. Lipoic acid, I did a PhD on that when I was in Australia. I've always liked it, and then I started taking it about 15 years ago when I was introduced to one of my heroes, Denham Harman, who came up with the free radical theory of aging, and he was still in the lab at 92. And I said, "What's your theory? What's your secret?" And he said, "It's alpha lipoic acid."
Interesting, but the free radical theory of aging has really been kind of disproven, hasn't it?
Yes, but I still admire him for being in the lab at 92.
Sure, but I mean, for those people who are thinking, "Oh, I need to be dealing with my free radicals," that appears not to be one of the primary reasons of aging.
Well, indirectly it is, because we know DNA breaks are going to accelerate aging.
Sure.
And free radicals can damage DNA. So, but it's not the holy grail. It's taking antioxidants doesn't extend the lifespan of animals very much.
Okay. You mentioned L-taurine just had a paper published on it.
Yeah, it just came out in Science. Rafael de Cabo is a very good friend of mine for 25 years. And he was the one that just showed that L-taurine levels don't decline apparently in humans or monkeys or mice.
Because I was like, I started a year ago because of all the news about it. It's...
Yeah.
And now
it doesn't look as promising, put it that way. And so I would say it's not going to hurt you, but I think there's less likelihood that it's going to extend your lifespan.
By the way, NMN, 1 gram.
That's what I take.
Is there any, if you do 2 grams or 3 grams, is there a problem with going more than a gram that you know of?
Well,
I'm just curious.
Well, I always like to
I have it in
data.
A bunch of supplements, so I'm like,
Well, it's published that both 1 gram and 2 gram have benefits, and that 1 gram will double your NAD and 2 grams will roughly triple it on average. But in my personal opinion now, I don't think it makes sense to go any higher. Your body will just pee it out anyway, and there's no point taking the risk. But I know 1 gram and 2 grams seem to be safe in short-term human clinical trials.
Got it. We've talked about resveratrol, spermidine, vitamin D, vitamin K.
Yes.
Okay. Low-dose aspirin?
Still yes.
Okay.
And that's interesting because a lot of people have heard, at least through the grapevine, that aspirin shouldn't be taken. So here's the deal. And when, I actually read the papers. I don't just read Twitter. When you go into the literature, the reason that doctors are mostly against aspirin these days is that they're balancing the risk reward. Now the reward is prevention of clots and cardiovascular risk. Now the risk is that you get stomach bleeding. And based on the numbers, it wasn't clear if it was worth taking aspirin with the risk. But that's for the average human, and there is no such thing as an average human.
Mm-hmm.
So really, medicine should be breaking it down as to, for you, Peter, what's good for you. Do you want an aspirin or not?
And by the way, I everything we've spoken about so far, I do take, including the aspirin.
81 milligrams a day.
81 milligrams, right?
Yeah.
Baby aspirin.
So take a coated one.
Yeah, I do.
Yep. So that reduces the risk of any stomach issues. But here's the thing, that there are people at risk of cardiovascular disease, and then it does make sense for them to take an aspirin. It makes perfect sense for me to take it because I genetically have high levels of Lp(a).
I do too.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm so excited about the new drug that's coming out for Lp(a).
Yeah, it looks promising.
Yeah.
It's in phase 3.
It should be coming out in like the next 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, because right now, there's very little that moves the needle there.
Yeah, it's really hard to bring it down, I know, from experience.
Yeah, you and I are in the same boat. Trimethylglycine.
I don't take that.
Neither do I.
No.
Okay.
There's this unfounded claim that NMN and NAD boosters deplete your methyls and that you need to take this to supplement it. That's just based on wild speculation. There's no evidence from anything we've done that that's true.
So I stopped taking metformin. Are you on it still?
Occasionally.
Occasionally, okay. I'm on berberine instead.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I found that metformin was really rough on my stomach, and the older I get, I find it's rougher. But berberine seems to be great, and so I do that.
I stopped metformin mostly for the focus on muscle growth.
Yeah, there's that, but also I want to speak about that.
Please.
Because I find that most people don't read the papers. And if you do, what you see is that this claim, even from some doctors who talk about this, is that it blunts muscle growth. And when you actually dive into the data, you see that the graph was misrepresented.
Wow. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, well, the one thing you should never do as a scientist is cut the y-axis off and exaggerate the difference. But that's what they did. It's only a 5%.
Why?
Just looks better.
All right, let's go to the next one, rapamycin. So huge claims. Many of the longevity experts said, okay, if there's one drug that probably has longevity impact, it's rapamycin. And, I've been tracking that. I've been reading on it, and it's enough up and down where I stopped taking rapamycin. I have a very low senile cell count. How about you? What do you think about rapamycin?
I'm less excited about it.
Yeah.
It was the darling because it works really well on inbred animals and seemingly might even work in dogs. But in humans, there was a study that came out, it was probably 6 months ago, that compared the effect on the epigenetic age of people in different clinical trials. Mm-hmm. And while some things worked really well, like caloric restriction, what else was important? I think acarbose worked really well. Metformin looked better than I thought it would. Rapamycin had no effect on the age of the epigenome.
Yeah.
And so that, combined with the known potential risks of down-regulating the immune system, and let me explain later why I think that that's bad, I decided only to take it rarely.
What occasion would you take it on?
I'd probably take it 4 times a year.
Okay, so just pulsed.
Yeah, and I'm monitoring myself, so I know if it has benefits or not, and I do see some.
Are you're monitoring your immune system? You're monitoring
everything.
What?
Yeah,
Everything.
I monitor my immune system. I'm counting the cells that I have, the different types, and cytokines, inflammatory cytokines, and I want to keep those as low as possible, keep down inflammaging. So I want to talk about why downregulating your immune system might be bad.
Yes.
Now, you want to downregulate your inflammation, but you want to have a really active immune system when it comes to cancer and viruses. Yeah. And those two things are real risks as we get older.
Sure.
There are endogenous viruses that come out, like CMV, and CMV is pernicious.
It's an epidemic out there.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that people don't realize is there's something called immunoexhaustion, right? Yeah. Where your immune system is fighting all these battles against herpes, against CMV, against how many different viruses do you think are endemic in the human being on average?
It's approaching 1,000 now when you do deep sequencing.
Incredible. And if they're fighting those viruses, your innate system is not there to fight cancer.
Yes, there's that. And the other issue is that these viruses like CMV, they lead to autoimmune disorders, potentially. Like CMV is linked to multiple sclerosis now.
Interesting.
And so you do not want CMV circulating. And for that reason, I don't want chronic downregulation of my immune system.
Yeah, that's important to note. Okay, let's jump into a few other elements here. So thank you for that. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that's high in your supplement med list?
Oh, there's lots, but let's leave that for the friends.
All right. So maybe the friends of Sinclair Lab will have a deeper dive.
Book two.
And book two. Okay. By the way, for those who are fans of David's first book, Lifespan, which I probably recommend more than my books, his next one coming out in 2026 is called Lifespan Survival. So can't wait.
Thanks.
All right. So are there any special supplements or additions for women that you want to call out?
Oh, gee. Well, that's a whole separate category. And Serena, my partner, is an expert in that. And I usually defer to her. And I don't want to claim to be an expert on female hormone therapy, but I do believe that hormone therapy is anti-aging. Mm-hmm. We see that in the literature. And also there are some ways to delay menopause and perhaps even reverse it. And I talk about that in my book as well. So I think mostly for women, it's hormonal, but there's other things like iron, protein that they need certain times of the month as well.
Do you know Jennifer Garrison at the Buck?
Sure.
Yeah. So Jennifer is another place that Tony and I have supported her research, and she put forward, she was at X Prize Visioneering last October, and that's where we compete kind of all these X Prize ideas, and her work in what was being called the Double X Prize for women's longevity, and particularly ovarian longevity, won the competition. So we're in the middle of designing that X Prize, which will be super cool.
Well, she's great. I have a superstar in my lab who, by the way, needs our support. Maria, she's such a superstar. This morning she gave lab meetings. So our lab meetings go for 3 hours on Friday mornings. And she outlined her project to use these age reversal breakthroughs on women's fertility.
Well, we need to get her either competing for the prize or helping to design the prize, for sure.
Yeah, she's also, by the way, using menstrual fluid as a biological clock and diagnostic factor, which is a great idea.
Amazing. So sauna, do you sauna?
As much as I can.
Yeah. I just purchased something called the Healing Sauna. It is a deep infrared sauna. It's relatively small, about yay big. It's got a chair in the middle, and it zips up around you with your head sticking out the top, and you have 2 arm slots. So I get in the morning, I'm on my computer doing my email, and I'm like, in about 30 minutes, I get a great sweat.
Yeah.
And you don't want to sweat too much. You want to sweat enough to get the toxins out, but not so much that you start losing other vital.
Right, and turn on the heat shock proteins in your skin and maybe deeper. Yeah, that's all important. And the science for sauna now is irrefutable.
It is. It's a couple of $1,000s for this thing, and it fits anywhere. So if you want to increase your sauna, it's super easy, and I love it.
I might look into that because often the problem is we don't have space in our houses.
Yeah.
So this
actually,
like
it is. It's like the size of this table. It's no bigger, and it collapses. And again, you sit in a folding chair inside, and the elements are inside, and you basically zip this thing around your neck. It's got a frame, and it works.
Does it get hot enough?
Yeah, I get a really great sweat going in 30 minutes. It's not like instantly, like 10 minutes, but I enjoy my 30 minutes. I'm meditating, or I'm watching a video, or listening to a book.
What's it called again?
It's called Healing Sauna.
Healing Sauna.
Yeah, I think it's just healingsauna.com. Okay, so one big question is fasting and fasting mimicking diet. So when I looked into it, there was a lot of confusion about whether fasting actually moved the needle for humans. What do you think about it?
I know a lot about it. In particular, I was just recording my next podcast, and it is on fasting and caloric restriction.
Yes.
And there's 80 pages of notes, show notes.
Wow.
So you have to do fasting the right way. There's with all these diets, if you do it the wrong way, it can harm you, right? But you need to be educated. You need to make sure you're not overdoing it, and you're supplying yourself with enough vitamins, minerals, and protein. And so I do it, but I do it in a scientific way, and that's part of the the challenge. If you don't do it without having regular blood tests at least once every few months, I think, it's somewhat risky. But in general, fasting has been shown for forever, since humans were first
Sure.
around,
In fact,
to be
religions
beneficial.
have built in fasting into their annual clock.
Yeah, so I still believe in the science of fasting, and it just has to be done the right way. And actually, there are some papers that show that if you do a vegan diet, this is just separate, but a good example, a vegan unhealthy diet will make you live shorter, but a vegan healthy diet will make you live longer.
Wow.
You just got to make sure you're eating the right things. And the same with fasting. You got to time it with your circadian rhythms. You got to eat the right food at the right time. You can't just eat French fries once a day and hope that's going to make you live longer.
So I'm very vocal about the notion that sugar is a poison.
Me too. I regard it as a poison, yeah.
I just want to echo, so a couple of data points here, right? We are eating in our diet today, if you look at the numbers, on the order of 10 times more sugar than we did a couple hundred years ago. And one of the things, we just are getting ready to publish this data at Fountain Life, right? So everybody coming through Fountain Life, we upload them. We get 200 gigabytes of data. It's like one of the most complete data uploads you could possibly do in 5 hours, full body MRI, brain vasculature, a coronary CT, looking for soft plaque, not calcified plaque, right? Soft plaque is what kills you these days. And if you have a high calcium score, it doesn't mean much unless the calcium's blocking your coronary artery. If it's cement on the side of the walls, it's stable, but it's the soft plaque that could evulse in the middle of the night, block your artery, and you don't wake up.
Yeah.
Right? We do low dose lung CT, we do DEXA scan, metabolomics, 140 blood biomarkers, your gut microbiome, retinal scan, skin scan, all of that.
When am I going to get a scan?
Dude, please come. Please.
I'm just teasing.
No, I'm serious. No, please come.
I'd love to try it.
And as my guest, we're opening up LA here in the first quarter of 26. And of course, we're operational in Dallas today. We're opening up Houston before the end of this year. We have New York going, Orlando and Naples going, and opening up Miami. So we've got
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, really.
I remember when you were just talking about it.
We looked at what correlates highest with heart disease, and it wasn't Lp(a) or triglycerides or LDL or HDL. It was your hemoglobin A1C. Right, and it's like you can control that.
Well, you can, and it starts with good diet and lifestyle and exercise for sure. But the drugs now that are available, you can either prevent the absorption with acarbose, you can pee it out with SGLT2 inhibitors, you can take metformin or berberine, and then there's others. And so, if you've got a good physician, you should be able to control your blood glucose these days. Of course, the GLP-1s, you shouldn't forget.
It's crazy. Okay. One or two more subjects. I want to go into the AMA. We have so many fans of yours that have written out questions here. I just got back from Hong Kong. And one of the things that I was speaking about there was the notion that a breakthrough in China works in Chicago, a breakthrough in Boston works in Beijing. We all 8 billion of us share the same fundamentals of longevity. And so unlike AI, which is a battle sort of winner take all, the idea of being able to give people longevity is something that is a rising tide for everybody. I'm curious where, so when I run my platinum longevity trips, we're currently doing them 1 year on even years. We're in San Francisco and San Diego, which is sort of a cluster for longevity. And then on odd years like this year, we'll be visiting you and George and a number of other incredible people in Boston, Cambridge, and Dean Kamen's in New Hampshire, which is another cluster, if you would. What's going on in the rest of the world? What's hot? Where are the clusters of longevity work?
Well, there are nations that have stood up and said we're going to invest in this. And so in Asia, it's Singapore. In the Middle East, pretty much all the countries, but Saudi Arabia, UAE, and now Qatar are big on longevity. And then it's just distant third and fourth and fifth. The Western world is not really getting into it besides the US. It's a little bit in the UK, a little bit in Australia. But other than that, it's just pockets of really good labs, but not really an industry yet.
I wish that in the same way we just saw a couple of $1 trillion put into AI by the Middle East, that they would get longevity religion. I mean, it's, and start pouring trillions into this space. And I hope we can get there.
Yeah.
I hope we can get there, because I do fundamentally believe this is, you've spoken about this. You've been really the first person to speak out that aging is a disease, that when we're able to cure and reverse this, it is going to uplift every society. And God knows that South Korea, Japan, China, Italy, most of Western Europe need longevity. They're disappearing as nations.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It used to be that we're going to overcrowd the planet if we slow down aging, but we need the current existing people to stay healthy and productive, because we're running out of people. Like
Are we seeing good work coming out of China as an area? Do you know that? Are there scientists? I'm curious what's going on there.
They are more than a decade behind the US right now, but we're ceding to them right now. We're cutting our science by more than half, and
oh my God,
all that stuff. So I think China's laughing all the way to the IP patent office, and we really risk our lead in this area. And while AI is neck and neck, we have a big lead in longevity, but we could lose that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump into questions from your fans. All right. So the first one was, what role is AI playing in your search to reverse aging? We heard about that already.
A very big
role.
Yeah.
A big role. When did it start becoming a big role in your lab?
We started using it about 3 years ago, but now we don't go a day
Can't live without it.
Exactly. And think about this, that what we do now in 2 months would have taken thousands of years to do.
Yeah.
It's you can say it, but just let that sink in.
No,
the predictions that I made 5 years ago are out the window because of AI. Now I'm much more optimistic.
So the new book's going to update those predictions.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Safia 3000 says, is there a role for epigenetic reprogramming to end ovarian aging and restore ovarian function?
So Maria will answer that in my lab, PhD student. So yes, we do believe that we can reverse ovarian aging. We already were the first group with our Australian offshoot to show that you can reverse infertility in old mice. That was a shocker, because people said, mammals run out of eggs, right?
Yeah.
But we took 16-month-old mice, which had become infertile 6 months earlier, and reversed them and made them produce pups again.
Wow.
So I know it's possible. Even with NMN, it worked.
Wow.
So we're going to try the even better technology, the stronger technology, the epigenetic reprogramming.
Incredible. And, most men are very ignorant about ovarian aging. And yeah, I mean, just to pass along some facts for folks, something like only 5 or 6 species on the planet go through menopause. It's 3 species of whales, narwhal, and humans go, which is crazy. You'd imagine everybody does, but no, that's not the case. And if you're a guy, the age at which your sister went through menopause actually correlates with how long you'll live.
Right. It's really a good indicator of longevity.
Fascinating. All right. At Glenn Origin asks, how close are we to making partial cellular reprogramming safe and scalable for human use? What's your current stance on NAD plus boosters? Are NMN, NR, and IV NAD plus still viable? Or is there a next evolution emerging? Is gene therapy still your most promising delivery method for Yamanakas? We've sort of covered many of those. I don't know if you want to add anything on there.
That was a very long question.
Yeah.
But
it's testing your memory.
Yeah, it really is. I think we're very close. We'll go into our first humans, hopefully by this time next year. We might know if it works. From then on, it's probably a year or 2 before we do whole body rejuvenation. And if that works, imagine.
I mean, it feels like it's science fiction. It feels like it's the future. It's like we're living in the Star Trek universe with, AI at this level and talking about whole body rejuvenation. I mean, what an extraordinary time to be alive.
It is. It is.
Makes me
The future.
smile.
The future looks so bright. We have to make it happen.
Yeah, we absolutely have to. So at Ethor Arnolds asks, when can we expect results on human trials of OSK Yamanaka factors? I think you've answered that. We're going to see human trials. This is the Life Biosciences work. Yes?
Starting in January.
January.
Yep.
Okay. At Nick Singh wants to know, when is your next book coming out? We shared that. So it's 2026 and it's called Lifespan Survival.
I'll tell you what it's about.
Please. Yeah, I love that.
So Lifespan was more of a textbook. It was, why do we age?
Yeah.
And how does this all work? And what will happen to the planet when this happens? Book 2 is really answering all the questions that I've been getting since. And so think of Lifespan 2, the book, as the guidebook. How do we optimize our bodies, looking at our evolution, the genes that we all carry? How do we individualize our lifestyles, supplements, medicines to maximize our longevity? And then what do we do for the next 10, 20 years going forward? And I look at it from the individual perspective, at the molecular level, all the way through to society.
Fantastic. At Dana Brilliant writes, what's your exercise routine? How much protein do you eat?
Okay. Her name was Brilliant. I like that.
Yeah.
So the routine is whenever I can, I get to the gym. And often I'm on planes, so it's hard to work out on planes. But I think it's very important a few times a week to get to the gym, or at least at home have some weights you can lift, and then walk or run on a treadmill. Mm-hmm. Moving, and keeping, especially after the age of 50, you got to keep lifting weights, otherwise you're going to lose it.
Sitting is the new smoking, as I like to say. And for me, the tricks are, I have a stationary bike. I take my Zoom meetings on my stationary bike. It works well.
Yeah. So if you've ever been on a Zoom meeting with me, it looks like I'm in space because I'm standing, but I'm moving all the time. So I don't sit down during the day. I try not to at least. So that's one trick. Protein. I eat a lot of protein, but it's mostly plant-based.
Sure. For me, I put on 10 pounds of muscle mass about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and my job is keep it on now. And it was creatine. Do you take creatine as a supplement?
No, but I'm considering it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like all upside, no downside for me. So I do 5 grams of creatine, and it was 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And there's a lot of debate on how much protein. Our friend down the street here is at UCLA is not liking so much protein.
I tend
Walter
towards
Longo.
that. Yeah, there's Walter. And also Dudley Lamming is my ex-student. He's now a professor. And he's done some of the most work on looking at amino acids and how they affect longevity. Mm-hmm. And there are some really good amino acids, and there are some that will reduce your lifespan. And there are what's called branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine. That are the bad ones. Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of that from meat. So I try not to eat a lot of meat. Plants have less of these amino acids.
What's your favorite protein source from plants?
Lentils.
Lentils.
Hummus.
I love lentils. Yes. Okay. Aoko Nova One asks, Dr. David Sinclair, what single experiment would you definitely falsify your epigenetic noise? What experiment would falsify your epigenetic noise theory of aging? Is there something that if you ran it would disprove that theory?
Oh yeah, it's easy to disprove a theory. It's much harder to prove it. Lots of things could disprove it. For example, the ice mice. If we had accelerated the epigenome aging, so changing the methylation pattern, the gene expression, and those mice were normal and didn't look old, then I would have thrown out the theory. But they did look old, and that was the reason that I thought it's likely to be true, because the chances that it would fail were 99%, but that 1% it worked.
Wow. All right, at Good to Think With asks, what AI advancement would be the most useful for your research?
Oh, that's great. I would love if AI could tell me who the observer is, where the observer is. We've been working on that, but would love it if they said, we just analyzed all the world's data and it's got to be this result. That would help.
Sure.
That's my dream, is before I die to figure out how does the cell rejuvenate itself.
And have the AI publish the paper for you as well.
Well, that's almost doable now.
Yeah.
But I think that also being able to do drug development even better than we do now. So to be able to say, this one molecule is your candidate for going into humans would be amazing.
Wow.
We're not there yet. You know, it says top 100, but going down to one. And like you said, having a digital twin and being able to simulate the interaction with all the proteins in the body and say, okay, that one's probably going to be toxic, but this one will work. That would be, we're probably only a few years away from that. And eventually you'll just do it on your phone. We'll talk about, let's cure whatever disease on your phone. By the time you get home, it's told you how to do that.
Yeah, I love that. I have a question that pops in mind here. There's a crazy statistic about the non-reproducibility of research data. I mean, is it like half of the research out there? I'm not sure if it's that high, but can't be reproduced.
Well,
what's going on there?
Yeah, that number is an exaggeration.
Okay.
I mean, we sometimes struggle to reproduce people's data, and it's because you're using a different cell line,
equipment,
different
right?
water supply, it's different handler, the mice don't behave the same way. So it's not that the people are faking it, it's more that science is complicated and variable and depends on where and how you do it. And some labs rejoice in disproving things. I don't do that. I always assume I'm the one that it's not working, the reason it's not working. But there are labs that thrive on not reproducing people's data, and it's super easy to not reproduce someone's result.
Sure.
I could easily do it, just change one thing and it's not going to work. So there's that category. But of course, there's a lot of research that isn't done rigorously, like this taurine paper. It might have been due to just inherent variability, taking one time point. But when you look over the lifespan of longitudinal same humans, you do see it. So sometimes there's some bad science, but I think that number is exaggerated. I'm very happy to say that none of our papers have ever been disproved or had to be retracted or changed their conclusions. I stand behind my scientific record.
Amazing.
And we work really hard to make sure that everything we do is very reproducible. In fact, we don't publish something unless our lab and another lab can reproduce it.
That's super high standards. Okay, at Robert ZX writes, what one area do you want to see more innovative startups tackling? Is there something that...
In longevity or in
I assume so in the biotech longevity world is...
I would love more labs to be working on finding new ways to reverse aging. Right now we have 3 genes that we know work. That's our technology. And we have some small molecules we're working on. But then it's all white space for people to get into. We do have some competition, right? We've got Altos and the others. But I think that this area is similar to AI. There's so much that can be done. And it's not like one company is going to win everything. If you're talking about potentially being able to treat and or cure most diseases, you could have hundreds of companies being very successful in this area. And I would like to see more jump in.
One of our mutual friends, Dr. Zeverankov from In Silico Medicine, has built an amazing lab that is AI and robotic driven. So the AI proposes the experiment, the robots run the experiment overnight, get the data, iterate on the theory, and so forth. Does anything like that exist in Boston right now?
I'm not aware of it.
But that sounds...
That's the future for sure. Alex is onto it. Yeah, I think that humans will just play a minor supervisory role in the future of drug development. Now, right now, we humans are more creative than AI. Right? We can imagine things that AI cannot, but that is only a few years from being superseded by AI that can have an imagination just like ours. I by the way, actually, I believe that we're going to see consciousness in these machines. And I just tweeted out, because I just finished listening to a book about the evolution of intelligence. What's his name? Max Bennett, I think, is the author. And it's a great book. And he talks about how we evolved our intelligence. And it starts with language, by the way, which now we're doing LLMs. So we're early stages of human evolution over the last million years. But there's not that many steps that between once you've got language to becoming sentient. Almost a given.
Wow. I'm about to go on a 2-week vacation to Alaska with my family, and I was looking for a book to read. I think you just found it for me. You remember the title of it?
I think it is The Evolution of Intelligence.
Fantastic.
Oh, it might be A Brief History of Intelligence.
Every day I get the strangest compliment. Someone will stop me and say, "Peter, you have such nice skin."
Honestly, I never thought I'd hear that from anyone. And honestly, I can't take the full credit. All I do is use something called OneSkin OS1 twice a day, every day. The company is built by 4 brilliant PhD women who've identified a peptide that effectively reverses the age of your skin. I love it, and again, I use this twice a day, every day. You can go to oneskin.co and write Peter at checkout for a discount on the same product I use. That's oneskin.co and use the code Peter at checkout. All right, back to the episode.
Jared Michaels writes, when will poor people be able to extend their lifespan? So one of the things that we get critique on all the time is the expectation that it's going to be super expensive.
And it is initially. The gene therapy is not cheap.
Yeah.
But as I've said today, we're working on making it as cheap as possible.
$1 a dose.
I could see it being $1 or less a dose eventually. And by the way, patents run out. So even if the company recoups its money, it'll eventually be like aspirin.
I mean, Moderna's COVID vaccine was between $1 to $2 a dose. When you're providing something to 1 billion people, it gets really cheap.
Yeah, and actually, based on what my lab is doing now, I see no reason why, for a few cents a day, everybody could afford a longevity pill.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful vision. All right, let's see. Vladimir Adelnor asks, what is the difference between the current longevity metrics and actually being young? I can, at age 22, go and get in a fight, get drunk, do an overnight while still operating many high-skill work at perfection. Whereas longevity folks can't do any of that.
We can't?
I don't know. I feel like I can do anything like that. But listen, I'm not going to pull all-nighters like I did in my 20s.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, our organs are not optimized still. Their gene expression, so the epigenome has degraded. You and I have lost some of that information, so our liver cells are not pristine anymore. They are behaving a little bit more like a nerve cell or a skin cell. They're more like a melange of cells. So we need to reboot them so that they know how to be perfectly liver cells again. So that's why I think you and I cannot do an all-nighter now and get away with it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't. I mean, I now look at an old person, I don't see them as an old person, I just see someone who needs a reboot.
I love that. Hey, you want a reboot? Come on over here. All right, at J. Kingsley says, what are the second and third order effects once aging has been cured? Does life have more meaning because it's finite? Yeah, so this it gets into the philosophical conversation here, and I love your thoughts on this. I definitely have opinions, please.
We may share them. I am not enjoying this conversation because I'm worried about dying.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it because the moment is fantastic. And I don't think if the fact that I'm going to die one day makes this any more enjoyable. I believe every day is a joy. It's a gift. And you make the most of it. And whether I'm going to live 80, 200, 400 years, I'm going to enjoy this moment just as much.
I remind people, listen, the average age for most of human history was like 30. Are you enjoying life now less because we've increased it 2.5 or 3-fold? I don't think so. I'm having a blast. I want to see as much of it as I can. The impact of AI on purpose is going to be interesting. I think that's something important to do in this world of extraordinary abundance and cognitive superpowers. Can we continue to keep ourselves engaged and excited about the future? There is another thing. When I have my longevity platinum trip, one of the first exercises I do with people is I say, okay, I want you to write down on a piece of paper what you would do with 20 extra healthy years, right? Write it down. And most people can. Most people can sort of think about 20 extra healthy years. Now I say, what would you do with 50 extra healthy years? Mm-hmm. And people's minds start to break. It becomes much more difficult for them to do that. What would you do with 50 years?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd keep researching and get us into new places. I had somebody ask me once, why don't I work on climate change? And I figure if we solve aging, they'll just work on something else. I love research. I love knowing things for the first time in human history. I'll keep doing science for as long as I am funded and can do it. I love life too. It's so much better than the alternative. But if you look at my father, I didn't expect my father to live beyond 80, nor did he, by the way.
Uh-huh.
And he is loving life like you wouldn't believe. He's out every night with different people, and a lot of them are good friends and women, and they're younger than him. It turns out when you're 85, 86,
Most people are younger than you.
there's that. And if you're a man, you're there's not a lot of competition at that age. But yet, look at him. He would not say, "I wish I died at 80." Like some people say, he wants every day, and he wouldn't mind another 20 years.
Yeah.
I think what we may have to do as a society is do what Sweden did, which is they recently pegged their longevity to their retirement age. And so as longevity goes up, you work longer. It makes sense. You can't just all sit around drinking cocktails.
Yeah, and we'll have a revolt when that happens, but it makes sense.
But it'll slowly inch up. Let's say longevity goes up by a year in the country, you work for next year. Again, what's the alternative? Do you want to just die young?
But I think, again, if you feel great, if you've got the energy, if you've got the cognitive clarity, if you've got the mobility, right, you're going to want to do stuff.
Yeah, and maybe there's a world where, we've got AI and androids where we don't have to work for us.
Yeah, we have some version of UBI, but health is still going to is the most valuable asset we have.
Yeah.
All right, so, second and third order effects, one other thing that people ask is, oh my God, overpopulation of the planet from people living longer. And of course, I think everybody listening to Here to Moonshots knows the numbers here, right? We're the replacement number of children per family is 2.1. Almost every country on the planet is below that. Some dramatically, right? South Korea is like 0.7 children per family. Japan is not far from that. Italy is evaporating. Most of Europe.
Yeah,
the U.S.
Those economies are screwed, by the way, unless they do something.
Longevity is critical, and robotics and AI are going to be critical. And somehow incentivizing people to build family, I think, is critical.
Yeah, or extend the fertility age of women, because a lot of women these days leave it till too late.
Yep. And, it's not fair to them. I had kids at 50, right? I'm 64 now. You're a young man.
You're 64.
Yeah.
You're looking great.
Thank you. I feel great. And my kids are 50, and I keep on telling them, yes, when you're 50, I'll be 100. And I'll still kick your butt.
Yeah. Well, I think we men, we tend to take it for granted that we can be fertile and fit for most of our lifespan. But for women, it's not fair. And sometimes these careers take 40 years. As a scientist, you're not mature until you're 40.
And Hollywood paints all these pictures of women in their 40s having kids.
But that's a struggle.
That's a struggle, and it's through in vitro fertilization or egg donors, and it just is not communicated. So,
and after 30, it's a precipitous drop in fertility. So if you're a woman in your 20s, look at those numbers and realize that after 30, it's going to go down dramatically. Yeah. And try to make life's plan until we figure out a solution.
Freeze eggs.
There's that, yes.
Freeze fertilized eggs if you can.
And follow these protocols. It's every indication that we can delay infertility by delaying aging.
Yeah. All right. Mad Scientist asks, if aging is fixed and we all live for 500 years, what will happen next? What are all of the pros and cons of life past 150 years of age? I revert to Star Trek. It's like there's a lot of universe out there. I just want to see it all. I also imagine, uploading. I think we'll get there. We just mapped the connectome of a Drosophila. Did you see that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I had on stage at my Abundance Summit last year, a gentleman, Michael Andrag, who is working on mapping a mouse, and he believes the technology now exists to map a human brain fully and upload it. The problem is it's destructive in process.
Yeah. That's a slight downside.
I'm gonna have my AI up on the cloud over the speakers. It will say, "Hey, Peter, you've successfully uploaded. You can kill yourselves now." It's like,
yeah, there's a good Black Mirror episode on that.
Listen, I'm gonna hit this for a second. I am pissed off at Black Mirror. I'm pissed off at Hollywood because we humans need a positive vision of the future to aim for. We need a story that is compelling, and abundant and hopeful. And we don't have many of those. I mean, Star Trek was the one that really lit me on fire. We need more of those.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And especially when it comes to longevity, it's usually, oh, something's gone horribly wrong.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. At Sharon Banks says, maybe ask about longevity's economic impact. Keep it insightful. So I want to drill down more into the Harvard, London School of Business, Oxford paper, because I want to understand how we get to tens of trillions of dollars from 1 year of additional healthy life, because that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the global economy is $110 trillion. Was this for the US or was this for the globe? Do you remember?
It was just US for 1 year extra. It's the value to the economy. And the value is the key word.
Mm-hmm.
The value is how much are people willing to pay. It's called the willingness to pay, WTP. And the way economists use this number is they say, what's it worth to you to have an extra year of life? And the reason that the number balloons out astronomically is that there's a positive feedback, is that for every extra year that somebody lives, that it turns out they want more of that and they're willing to pay for more of that.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons. And then, of course, you can take away a lot of the healthcare issues. The longer somebody lives, the less burden they are on the economy. And that also factors in. But healthcare is expensive. You know, somebody who's got dementia or ALS, like my mother-in-law, this is super expensive. That's just one person costing tens of thousands a day to be looked after. If she was still healthy at 76, she'd be still earning. She'd be looking after.
She'd be
kids,
spending.
Yeah.
So this is what Gemini says. Research published in Nature Aging in 2021. You were an author on this paper, right?
Yeah.
By a team including Harvard and Oxford economists, showed that a slowdown in aging that increased life expectancy by 1 year is worth an estimated $38 trillion to the global economy. So again, I find those numbers crazy. I wish I'd been able to feed that information to Elon at the beginning of his. It's like spend the government money solving aging, and then don't have to worry about any of this other stuff.
Yeah.
That would have been much better. At Cassie Nova says, what are the most effective over-the-counter modalities available today for under $1,000? So we talked about some of those supplements. I don't think any of them are expensive. Exercise, is probably, I would think exercise like the most important modality. How do you feel about that?
I think, yes, what you eat and exercise, those are the two big ones. Relatively easy. It's a little bit more technical to get your supplements right because it's tailored to you. For cardiovascular disease, there's something that I've been taking for a couple of years now, and that actually has been shown in studies to reverse cardiovascular disease, removes plaque.
What is it?
It's called nattokinase.
Oh yeah, I take nattokinase as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So maybe
I take it for post-COVID on airplane flights, just reducing clotting potentially.
Oh, so that's the short term, but the long-term benefit was there was a study with 1,086 people, a Chinese study, but it was very well powered, and they showed that up to 95% of plaque got removed in 1 year.
Wow.
Just by taking, but you need at least 12 units a day. They're called FU units, but not FU, but fibrillate units. So I've been doing that, and it's been so far great. I measure my carotid with ultrasound,
Sure.
and there's no plaque buildup there at all. So it's hard to reduce that, but I do take it as prevention.
Let me see where I am on nattokinase.
So nattokinase is an enzyme that digests fibrin, which is
I'm on 100 milligrams.
part of your plaque.
I'm on 100 milligrams of nattokinase. I don't know how many units that translates to.
Yeah. I would say if you don't want to take a lot of pills, at least 6,000 units would be a good start, and then work up from there. But of course, do this with the knowledge of your physician.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything.
I have an army of doctors I hire. I have 30 of them that are working for me at Fountain Life. So
That's true. But not everyone can do that. But still, just in general, just as a warning, if you do change your lifestyle and supplements, just make sure your doctor knows about it.
For sure. And, one of the things I really so desperately want is, and there was a question only about what people should build. I want an AI model that will take in my genetics, take in my recent blood work, take in my goals. Like I want higher cognitive clarity, I want more muscle, I want more longevity, whatever your goals are, you prioritize them. And then how many pills a day you're willing to take.
Yeah.
And it should spit out a prioritized list. Because right now you go to one doctor, you'll get one set. You listen to you or me, you'll get another set. You listen to another person, another set. There is an optimal. There truly is. And so
it wouldn't be that hard actually.
No, it wouldn't be. The data's out there.
We're working on that. But you go to doctors and most doctors would say, what's nattokinase? They can't keep up with the literature. It's just too much, but AI can.
AI can. Let's talk about something that you and I might differ on. I'm curious, sleep.
I suck at it. How do you do?
I got a 92 last night, which I was very happy about on my Oura ring. I won't tell you what I got. I will tell you because I'm going to look right now. Last night was awful. I mean, I'm usually very proud of my sleep. Last night, I got a 64. It's the lowest I've gotten in like a year. And I think it was, I've been going 24/7 this week, getting ready for being gone for 2 weeks and whatever it was, but I made up for it today, definitely.
Good. Well, I try my best. I'm
you said
often
to me,
traveling.
You said to me once you think you can get away with less sleep.
I have figured out how to do that.
Okay, pray tell.
It's about the amount of deep sleep that you get.
Sure.
And so I've got
which is the most important thing, right?
Supplement that I take that puts me straight into deep sleep.
Is it a DORA drug? Is it?
Serena makes it. Serena sells it actually.
Okay.
So, but
I'm happy. You're not promoting her, but I can. What is it?
It's called Sweet Dreams, and it's changed a lot of lives. It's a mixture of very low dose melatonin, 5-HTPs, L-theanine. It's magical. So, yeah.
And where would I find it? What website?
Even if she wasn't my partner, I would say that's what I take because I used to have insomnia really badly, and I'm off Ambien now.
Oh yeah, Ambien's just terrible.
You just get it on her website, serenaloves.com.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
Yeah, no.
Again, I'm not here to promote it.
No, I get it, but we share what we know that works for us, and that's all we can do.
Yeah. Oh, another disclaimer.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure everyone knows that my thoughts, my opinions, and even what I just said have nothing to do with Harvard Medical School.
Right.
They're just my employer.
And they're not medical advice.
No.
Okay. Sam Renkema asks, what are the top 10 practical longevity tips? Top 3 for each organ? And which 5 longevity gadgets do you recommend? So let's go with the last part.
We can go with gadgets.
Gadgets, yeah. What are you using for gadgets?
In our home, we have a red light bed. It's a big one.
You have the Thor, the lie down one. I have panels right now that I use a panel
I think
front.
It is. But yeah, it's a big thing with a lid that looks like a tanning bed, but it's not.
Yeah, I love that. So I do red light many mornings as I possibly can.
Yeah. The other thing I've been doing is I have a red light portable and I put it outside the shower shining in. And so as I'm in the shower, I'm getting red light therapy too. And it's also a steam shower, which is nice. So that's one, red light. Right. I use that on my head as well.
Yeah, I have a red light cap for hair growth, stimulation.
Yeah,
it's doing okay.
It's working.
It's working.
I still can't believe you're 65, you said?
64.
Sorry, I didn't mean to insult
age
you.
Me. No, that's okay. Yeah. It's fine. I've gotten to a point where I'm stating my age with pride versus hiding it because I am 64 and that's it. And I'm just like, for me, that is a call to action to remain at highest health status for as long as possible because we have incredible tech coming our way, and I want to intercept that longevity escape velocity.
Well, you're also a role model, and
I feel like I'm 28 or 29. That's my internal age. Yeah. That's my internal number for myself.
Yeah, I would say physically you look like you'd be in 30s, 40s, and you move just like you were in your 30s, 40s, I bet.
Yeah.
And by the way, my father is stronger, fitter, and more flexible than I am with better balance, and he's at 86, so it's very doable.
I on my birthday a few weeks ago, and I pumped out 100 push-ups in a row, which was, when I was in my 20s, the most I could do was 40, and I got to 50, and I've increased it from there. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just saying I use that as a measure for how I'm doing. In fact, in my longevity guidebook, I put my measurements that I've been measuring over the last few years in terms of squats and push-ups and, all of the in plank pose and such. And it's important for you to measure yourself. Of course, you get a lot of data from your DEXA scans and your MRIs and so forth. The data does matter. Obviously, you have an Oura ring on too.
I have a ring, and I don't say what type it is.
Okay, fair enough. Do you use? I don't have my my CGM on. Do you use a CGM?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not every week, but when I feel like it's probably 5 times a year or something. And different brands are better than others. You want to try and research what works. But monitoring your glucose, a lot of doctors, maybe not a lot of doctors, but I've seen some doctors say it's irresponsible for people to have access to that data. It should be for doctors. Yeah, look online. There are some doctors who are dead against CGMs unless you've got diabetes, and even then, which I'm dead against. First of all, who are you to say that I can't know about my own body, right?
That's insane.
And that I'm not educated enough to understand this. I would say a lot of the people out there are just as educated about glucose than their own doctors. So I'm definitely in the camp of we have a right to know our own genetics, our own epigenetics, our own glucose levels, and information is power. As long as you're telling your doctor what you're doing and talking to them about it, you got doctor supervision, it's fine. When I talk to my doctors, they say, can we see the data? We'd love to see it,
Yeah, one thing that is, I'm curious about your thought here. I hate the notion that the government prohibits me from participating actively in experimental treatments. If I'm at the end of life and, my option is death in some number of months, why do I have to leave the country to go and try an experimental treatment? Why, if I'm of sound mind or if my family agrees, right to, what is it called? Right to test, right to use,
right to try
is getting going, but
and it's done under doctor supervision. You don't just, you're a doctor, but most people don't just say, I want to try this, give it to me. It's done under doctor supervision. So your physician makes the decision with you.
Yeah.
So just the idea that, it might be uneducated decision is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Same with euthanasia. You have to go overseas now if you want to do that. And if you're in agony every day, who are we to say that you shouldn't do what you want with your life?
All right. Entropy asks a question I'm curious about. How long do you want to live? So, there's an interesting one. I'm on stage. I'll ask people in the room here, how long do you think you're going to live? You have a number in your brain. And where do you get that number from? And why do you believe it? And I find it fascinating that this mindset that people have this number has implications, right? Your mind is a very powerful force on how long you'll live.
So you're asking me those questions?
I'm asking you, how long do you want to live, and why? And why is the important part?
Right.
If you're willing.
No, it's fine. I think it's a better question to ask, when do you want to die? And as long as I'm healthy and I have friends, I find that there will never be a day when I want to die. And I think that's true for just about everybody. If you're sick, frail, lonely, depressed, that's when those thoughts come in. But I don't know anybody, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of people in big crowds like you. If you're healthy and have friends and family, do you want to die tomorrow? No one ever says, yeah, take me out. But when do I want to die? Never. I don't like the idea of being dead.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty boring. But, it doesn't mean I believe I'm going to live forever, but I also don't think that if I'm staying healthy and active and having fun, why would I want to die? Why would anybody want to die?
Yeah. David, I truly love what you do. I consider you a dear friend, and I'm grateful for you in my life. Let me recap a couple of things for listeners at home. David's new book, Lifespan Survival, is coming out in 2026. A number of you asked, when is his podcast coming back? Well, David's podcast is coming back. It's coming back this fall. What's it called?
The Lifespan with David Sinclair.
Awesome. And I asked earlier your producer, and if you want to get on his list to get access to it when it comes out, go to davidasinclair.com. What's the A stand for, by the way?
Andrew.
Andrew.
That's
okay.
my dad, yeah.
All right. Go to David A. Sinclair. Mine is Peter H. Diamandis, and Harry is my dad's name too. I sort of honor him with that. So davidasinclair.com, and you'll see a subscribe button there. Please do. I will. Couple of other things. Please join me in supporting David's research and his extraordinary team at his lab. In the show notes, you'll see a link to be able to donate at a $50K to $1,000K, $50K to $1,000 level through Harvard Medical School. It's tax deductible. We'll put up once again here the QR code for the Coinbase wallet, where those of you can donate either stablecoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin. I hope you'll join me. And I would love to get like a massive surprise from somebody who comes in and says, listen, we're going to match your $2 million budget. Here's some Bitcoin.
Yeah. So my lab runs on $3 million a year.
$3 million a year. Okay, so $3 million budget.
If someone does that, then I'll give them my entire protocol.
Give them everything. I mean, what's it worth? In success, this is a micro investment for the impact on humanity.
Yeah, and there'll be spin-outs too.
Yeah,
and oh, by the way, you were there when at Steve Aoki's.
Oh yeah.
Thing. So we were at an auction, and
we were the auctions.
we were. I forget what you offered, but for mine it was a tour of my lab, and that went for $100K.
Yeah.
So all the friends are welcome to have that as a bonus to come by my lab and see what we're up to.
And the third approach is joining David and myself as $50K level donors for Friends of Sinclair Lab. Just send an email to fosl@diamandis.com, and then we'll connect you back to a site where you can tell us about yourself. And if you're serious about joining Friends of Sinclair Lab, you'll see David and I once a quarter, and we'll talk about what's the latest and greatest, what's going on in your lab, what the investment opportunities are, what the breakthroughs are. When we'll see it, it'll be super secret.
Direct access, yeah. And we'll do at least one dinner.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah. So David, where do we find you on Twitter?
That is David A. Sinclair. And then on Instagram, it's David Sinclair, PhD.
Okay, fantastic. Buddy, listen, this was fun. I enjoyed this. I really did.
It was really great to catch up again. I'm
going to see you in Boston at the end of September. And by the way, if you want more information to join me for my 5-day, 5-star longevity platinum trip, it's capped at 60 people. We spend 5 days together with the most extraordinary scientists in the world, like David, like George Church, like Dean Kamen. Go deep for those days. You can go to abundance360.com/longevity and learn more information about it. Excited to spend the weekend with you. And then in March at the Abundance Summit, again, it's been a few years since you were there, and so much progress. In this age of AI, it's awesome.
It is, yeah, and every year it just gets better and better. And I also want to speak on behalf of everyone listening. I think we all feel the same way about you. You're a unique individual on the planet. And thank God you exist, because you make things happen that otherwise would never be in history. And you've already shown that you've done that. So maybe with longevity, that'll be your legacy too.
Yeah, I hope so. I look forward to partnering with you on that.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, buddy. Be well.
You too.
If you could have had a 10-year head start on the dot-com boom back in the 2000s, would you have taken it? Every week, I track the major tech metatrends. These are massive, game-changing shifts that will play out over the decade ahead. From humanoid robotics to AGI, quantum computing, energy breakthroughs, and longevity, I cut through the noise and deliver only what matters to our lives and our careers. I send out a Metatrend newsletter twice a week as a quick 2-minute read over email. It's entirely free. These insights are read by founders, CEOs, and investors behind some of the world's most disruptive companies. Why? Because acting early is everything. This is for you if you want to see the future before it arrives and profit from it. Sign up at dmandis.com/metatrends and be ahead of the next tech bubble. That's dmandis.com/metatrends.